welcome to another episode of Scorebook Stories. We are pretty much at the end of the regular season. We are so close to the end. However, there are only 4 teams who have clinched, and they are all in the National League when it comes to playoff berths so far this year. Number of teams are on the outside looking in. Placing, seeding, all of that kind of stuff is up in the air. And it is kind of wild to me how close a lot of these divisions actually are. But the Phillies, the Brewers, the Cubs, and the Dodgers have already clinched playoff berths, with the Phillies being the only team to actually clinch their division. So this week is going to be extremely important for a lot of teams out there. And we are going to talk about every single one of them and why they are going to make the playoffs. That is the goal of today's episode. And as we do when we go around the league, we're going to start in the American League East with the Toronto Blue Jays, who currently have the lead in the AL East right now by a few games. The Blue Jays are a consistent team that give every opponent problems. Every single opponent struggles against the Blue Jays. Really, I don't think there has been many games where a team has played the Blue Jays and absolutely just rocked them. It obviously does happen. It's baseball. I can't think off the top of my head games that the Blue Jays have been absolutely blown out or completely shut down offensively. They get the bat on the ball. They hit very well. They're second in WAR at 30.7 as a team overall. They are fourth in the MLB in RBIs. They have the lowest strikeout percentage of hitters in the MLB. They're fifth in runs scored, first in batting average, hits, and on-base percentage. This team hits the ball very, very well. They're going to be playing the Boston Red Sox, who have struggled against them this season. Toronto holds the series with 7 wins of their 10 matchups. So it's going to be a difficult thing for the Red Sox to try to overcome the Blue Jays. And if the Blue Jays can manage to maintain the success that they have had against Toronto, they definitely are going to put themselves in a incredibly great position to win the AL East and clinch this division sometime during that series. It is very possible. But the Yankees are right on their heels. The New York Yankees are sitting at second in the AL East, and the Yankees are first in a lot of different categories. The Yankees are first in offensive WAR at 116.2. They're first in WAR overall at 31.1. First in slugging, first in walk percentage, first in home runs, first in runs scored, first in RBIs. They're fourth in on-base percentage. The Yankees all are going to be they're in a great position to steal the division this season right now. They are, I believe, 2 games out of first place in the division. Yeah, 2 games out. The Yankees are 2 games out, and they have a series coming up against the Chicago White Sox, who have not been a great ball club all year. And they're going to be taking on Baltimore again. They have their final series against Baltimore to end the season. And right now, the series, I believe, is split for for Baltimore and New York, 1 game each in this series. They're going to be taking on the White Sox and Baltimore again. So the Yankees, I think, just based on the schedule that they have left, they're going to clinch a playoff spot. They're going to be able to take 2 of 3 the rest of the way. That's going to be enough to get them into the playoffs, unless some of these other teams win out. Genuinely, I think the schedule alone, the offensive production that the Yankees have shown is going to be enough to get them into October. How they perform in October, that's a completely different conversation for next week's episode, which is probably going to have a very special guest. I'm still working on it, but it's going to be fun and you're not going to want to miss it. So before we start derailing and prepping and promoting next episode, sticking back to this one, the Yankees are going to be in the playoffs. They just are. They're the New York Yankees. They always find a way to get themselves into the playoffs. They manage to figure out how to put themselves offensively out of reach of whatever their opponent happens to be doing at that point in any given game, for the most part, that their defensive struggles may not really matter per se throughout the rest of the regular season here. I just think the Yankees are going to figure out a way to get themselves to play October baseball. And then the third team, the only other team not eliminated in the AL East, is the Boston Red Sox. They're third in the AL East right now. They're fourth in hits in the MLB, fifth in batting average, sixth in runs scored, eighth in RBIs. They have a really difficult road, but their pitching staff and their offensive consistency, I think, is going to be enough that they can push past these two difficult series that they have to go through to get themselves into the playoffs. They're going to be taking on the Toronto Blue Jays and the Detroit Lions. If they can manage to take 2 of 3 in both of those series, they should be in a great position to make the playoffs. Is winning the division still an option for them? Yes, but I think that's more of a long shot. Wild card is pretty darn near guaranteed, I would say, at this point. The Red Sox are a solid ball team, and I think that they are going to the postseason. Like, I genuinely think the Red Sox, Yankees, and Blue Jays will be playing October baseball. It's just I don't see a way that some of these other teams actually can catch up. But we are going to talk about some of these other teams, like the ones in the AL Central. The Detroit Tigers, they have a very slim lead in the AL Central right now. They have not been doing great the past week or so. They're 10th in home runs, 9th in runs scored, 9th in walks per 9, and they have a sub-4 team ERA, which is very good. They also have Tarek Skubal. That, I think, is going to be enough to get them into the playoffs. I think they are going to be a postseason team. The problem is they have to play Cleveland, who's right behind them in the AL Central, and they have to play Boston. Those are two difficult series that Detroit has. I think if they can take 2 of 3 against Cleveland, that's going to win them the division, and they're going to the postseason. That's what's going to happen. And if they manage to drop 2 of 3 to Cleveland, then they're going to have to sweep Boston to try to win the division, or at least lock themselves into a playoff spot. It's going to be hard. It's going to be a rough road. It's going to be a tough week here for Detroit Tiger fans, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be so entertaining. And I don't think Tiger fans have to worry too much. I really think the Tigers are going to be a postseason ball club, and they're going to be playing October baseball. But the Cleveland Guardians, they are surprising. They are 1 game back in the division right now, tied with Houston for the final AL wildcard spot as well. Nothing too notable offensively, but their defense and their pitching is what is winning the Guardians ball games. It's stellar. They have a 3.74 team ERA, which is 4th best in the MLB. They're on a 10-game heater right now. They have the final game against the Twins today in that series. Then they are taking on Detroit and Texas. The Detroit series is going to mean so much to Cleveland. And if they can manage to win 2 of 3, they're winning this. They could very well be winning this division. Very well could be. Texas is not going to roll over, though. That's going to be a difficult series no matter what, because they are on the outside looking in. They are one of the long shot teams that is really going to be hunting for a chance to play October baseball. Will they make it? Like I said, it's a long shot, and it's very difficult for them to do it. But I think they have the pitching staff. I think they have the batting lineup that is capable of pulling something like this off. It wouldn't be an overall shock to me if Texas pulls it off. But the Cleveland Guardians right now are sitting in a very good spot to lock themselves into the postseason, especially if they're able to get past Detroit by winning that series. The final team in the AL Central who still has a shot at playoffs, granted it is a long shot, is the Kansas City Royals. They're really going to have to win a lot of ball games, if not all of them, the rest of the season, with some help from other teams to lose. The Cleveland Guardians, Detroit Tigers series is definitely going to help the Royals gain some ground, but they're going to have to sweep. They're really going to have to do a good job. They have a series against the Angels and the A's coming up after they wrap up the series with the Blue Jays today. They're 5-5 in their last 10. The Royals need to win today. if they haven't already. I believe that game actually will be over by the time you're listening to this. It has not started yet as I am recording, but it probably will be completed by the time you hear this episode. So we will know what the Royals need to do to get into the playoffs. But overall, I think the Kansas City Royals have a shot, not a big one, but they have a shot to make the postseason. Hopefully, they can figure out a way to pick up some wins. The Angels and the A's are not great ball clubs, both already eliminated from postseason contention. So, not to say that it's easy because it's the MLB and no series is really easy and anybody can win in baseball on any given day. It's honestly one of the hardest sports to compete at. So it's hard, but the Royals I think can do it, and I wouldn't be overly shocked if the Royals figure out a way to sneak into a wild card spot. I would say that the division is out of reach though. Then moving over to the AL West, we have the Seattle Mariners on top. This team is very well-rounded, in my opinion. They do have a few game lead in the division, but they will need to build upon it to clinch the division with Houston only 2 games back in the division. They wrap up the season against Houston today, final game of the series, and then they have 3 against Colorado and 3 against the Dodgers. The Colorado series is going to be extremely important for the Seattle Mariners. If they can sweep Colorado, who honestly has been kind of hot as of late, which is kind of weird to say. They're still not winning, but they're playing pretty good baseball. The Mariners are 3rd in home runs, 4th in stolen bases, 9th in walk percentage, 10th in slugging, 10th in Ks per 9, 3rd in walks per 9. They have a well-rounded, well-balanced offense that does a little bit of everything. They hit home runs, they get on base, they steal. They're a good ball club, and I don't see a way that they miss out on the postseason. The wild card is going to be the toughest thing for any club not in the AL East right now to try to get a hold of. The Yankees seemingly have a wild card spot locked up if they can't catch the Blue Jays, and the Red Sox are playing pretty good baseball as well and could take a second wild card, which means there's only one more spot available. So winning this division is going to be a must for the Seattle Mariners to basically feel comfortable about playing October baseball. The Houston Astros, like I said, though, are right behind them, and they need to pick up a win today, really, to put themselves into position. And they probably are going to need a little bit of help from the Dodgers if the Astros want to find a way to get into the postseason. They're finishing their series with Seattle today. I believe the Mariners have already won the series. But the Astros are going to be ending their season on a road trip out to California to take on the A's and the Angels. It's going to be theirs to lose, honestly. The Astros are 10th in hits or 8th in hits, 10th in batting average, 1st in strikeouts per 9, and 8th in ERA as a ball club. Not bad, very good, very reliable, very consistent. And the Astros just find a way to win games. They find a way to get themselves into a position to win the division, and they find themselves in a position to get into the postseason every single year as of late. It feels like the Astros are just that team that no matter who's on the roster, they figure it out and they get themselves into the postseason to play October baseball. I am not a huge Astros fan, but they just find a way, and it is impressive. And that's what you have to do at the MLB level. You need to find a way to get yourself into the dance. And once you're into October baseball, it's anyone's game any day, even more so than the regular season. So with the Astros taking on the Angels and the A's, they're looking pretty good to get themselves into the postseason. Moving on to the Texas Rangers, like I said, they're a long shot, but it is still possible. They're really going to have to win out. They're going to have to win every single game the rest of the season, and they're going to need a lot of help from Cleveland, Houston, Seattle, Boston, and New York. They're going to need help from a lot of teams around the league. They're going to need to win every single ball game moving forward. I don't see it being very likely, but they are not eliminated yet. By the time this comes out, they could be eliminated. I really don't know. It's going to depend on a whole host of different things going on around the league for the Texas Rangers. Stay up to date on everything going on in the sports world by heading over to 7 Mountain Sports on Facebook. Seven Mountain Sports on X, on Instagram. We are on all of your favorite platforms, and you do not want to miss out on a single thing going on here at Seven Mountain Sports. Now moving over to the National League. In the NL East, there are two teams still fighting for a playoff spot. The Mets and the Marlins both lost the division. They're no shot. They're not winning this division. It's over. Philly's got it locked up. But wild card spots are still up for grabs. The Mets have a solid roster of players. Very good ball players, top tier ball players who have slumped at the wrong time, which put them in this position. That slump hurt them a lot. And it put them in this spot where they are really trying to just figure out a way to win ball games and get themselves into the postseason. And it's not going to be an easy trip. They are playing the Cubs for 3, and they're playing Miami for 3 to end the season. And that series against Miami could have some serious playoff implications should they not win the series again. Should the Mets not win the series against the Cubs? The Mets are 6th in home runs, 10th in runs scored, 3rd in walk percentage, 6th in OBP and slugging. They are in the middle of these top playoff teams. They're very good. They've shown they can win games. They've shown they can win games by a lot. They've shown that they can have reliable pitching. They can show they have reliable defense. They just need to put it all together for one more week to guarantee themselves a playoff spot. And Miami they're not looking like they're in a great spot to make the postseason right now either, but it is still possible. They're going to have to take 3 against Philadelphia or the Mets, and they're going to have to win 2 against the other. It's not going to be an easy game. It's not going to be an easy week for the Miami Marlins. It's going to be tough, but there's a shot. I don't think the Miami Marlins are going to do it, but if they can sweep Philadelphia or take 2 of 3 against Philadelphia and sweep the Mets, there's a really good shot that Miami gets in and plays some October baseball. In the NL Central, the Reds really, in my opinion, are the only team that has a shot to make the playoffs here. They're one game out of the wild card, and if they sweep the Pirates and pick up 1 or 2 against the Brewers, they're probably in the playoffs, and they're probably in that wild card spot. I think it's a little bit of a reach for the Reds to go up and get the division with only a week left. But they're a young, exciting ball club, and honestly, I think it'd be so much fun to watch them play some October baseball. I'm really here for it. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm all in on the Reds. I want to see them play October baseball. It's going to be so much fun. Honestly, Ellie De La Cruz in October, I'm here for it. I am so in, but it's still going to be tough. I think the Reds can sweep the Pirates, although the Pirates do have a habit of absolutely ruining the chances for somebody to make it into the postseason. I don't understand what it is about the Pittsburgh Pirates. They always start off the year pretty darn strong, and I like what I see from the Pittsburgh Pirates. And then the whole middle of the year is just nonsense of question marks and a lot of people just with a blank stare on their face asking why. And they lose a whole lot. And then we get to August and September, and all of a sudden they're the best team in the league. Like, they're unreal, taking down teams left and right, sweeping the Dodgers. Like, they cause problems. They're the thorn in the side of playoff teams come September. Every playoff team in the MLB does not want to play the Pittsburgh Pirates in September because they will ruin everything you have going on and prevent you from getting into the playoffs. I can't explain why, but it happens every year, and the Reds could be the next victim of that. In the NL West, the San Diego Padres have a 4-game lead for the second wild card spot. They're going to wrap up the series against the White Sox today, and in my opinion, it is a must-win. San Diego is going to be taking on the Brewers and the Diamondbacks. Both series are not going to be an easy one to play, but the Brewers have the bats and the pitchers to get it done. So we'll see how it goes. I also really think that the Padres have reliable defense. The moves they made at the deadline were incredible. And in my opinion, it was imperative for the Padres to go out, make those deals to put themselves in the best position to make the postseason. And so far, it's paying off. Laureano, O'Hearn, Mason Miller, it's working out the way that they had planned. And I think that is going to be key. They have to win against the White Sox today with so much on the line when it comes to a wild card spot. They cannot be complacent. They have to be confident. They have to be structurally sound. They have to be fundamentally sound. They have to play their ball game. They have to produce offensively, and they have to be reliable defensively with pitching that is on top of its game. This week is extremely important for the San Diego Padres, not only for seeding, but also the potential to catch the Dodgers in the division. 7MM Sports is your hub for all things Seven Mountains Media Sports. You can watch the latest of Sports Talk with Steve Jones episodes. You can find what station you can listen to your favorite Penn State sports team on, and you can even get live social media updates all the time. All of these things are available along with every single show produced by Seven Mountains Sports over at 7mmsports.com. Speaking of the divisions, we're going to dive in to the standings updates around the league right now. Like I said, 4 teams have clinched all in the National League. In the American League East, Toronto has the lead, 89-66 in the AL East right now. Yankees are 2 games back at 87-68. Boston is 85-68. They're 4 games back. This in the Central, Detroit has the lead. Tampa Bay and Baltimore both have been eliminated, 75-80, 73-82. In the Central, Detroit is 85-70 with the lead. Cleveland is 84-71, 1 game back. It's going to be tight, and it's going to come down to the last day, in my opinion. Kansas City is in third, 78-77. They're 7 games out of the division. I think that's kind of out of reach for them. Minnesota and the White Sox have been eliminated, Minnesota being 66-89, and the White Sox 58-97. In the West, Seattle has the lead at 86-69. Houston is 84-71, 2 games back. Texas is 79-76, 7 games back. The A's and Angels have been eliminated. The A's at 73-82, and the Angels at 70-85. Texas and Kansas City are the long shots. It's going to be great to see, though, and I think both of them at this point are aiming for a wild card spot. The Yankees have a 3-game lead for the first wild card spot. Boston 1-game lead for the second wild card spot. Cleveland and Houston are tied with at that last wild card spot. Texas is 5 games out, and Kansas City is 6 games out. Difficult, but doable. Over in the National League, the Phillies clinched the division right now. They're 92-63. The Mets are 80-75. They're not going to win this division. The Miami Marlins are 75-80. They're not winning the division either. Atlanta and Washington have been eliminated, 72-83 for Atlanta, 63-92 for the Nationals. In the Central, the Brewers have the lead, 95-60. They clinched the playoff spot, but where? I don't know. I think they pretty much have the division locked up. The Cubs are 88-67. They're 7 games back, but the Brewers, they got some difficult games coming up, and the Cubs also have some difficult games coming up, but they are going to probably win a couple of them, if not win both of those series. So if the Brewers lose a whole bunch, they might not win this division, but I think they pretty much have the division locked up. When it comes to the rest of the Central, the Reds are 79-76, 16 games out of the division. They ain't catching them. The St. Louis Cardinals are 75-80. They are 20 games back. and Pittsburgh's been eliminated at 66 and 89. Out west, the Dodgers have the lead 88 and 67. Like I said, they clinched a playoff berth. San Diego is 4 games behind them at 84 and 71. Diamondbacks are 10 games back with a 78 and 77 record. San Francisco is 76 and 79, 12 games back, and Colorado's eliminated at 43 and 113. Yikes. When we look at the wild card, and I say that as I'm wearing all of my Colorado gear. When we look at the wild card, though, the Cubs are 8 games ahead in the wild card spot. San Diego's 4 games ahead for the second wild card spot. The Mets have the final wild card spot at 0. The Reds are 1 game back, though, and they are looking like they are going to take it. The Arizona Diamondbacks are 2 games back. San Francisco's 4 games back. St. Louis and Miami are both 5 games out of a wild card spot. Long shot for the Cardinals and the Marlins, but I think they could find a way to squeak themselves in if they can pick up some big wins. But I'm not too confident with what the Cardinals have coming up that they're going to be able to do it. And I'm not overly confident in the St. Louis pitching staff either. When we look at our statistic leaders, Aaron Judge still leads the way in batting average. I feel like he's led the way pretty much all year long. He has a 329. Jacob Wilson's behind him with hitting 318. Bo Bichette's hitting 311. Trey Turner 305. Jeremy Pena 304. When it comes to hits, Bo Bichette is leading the way, 181. Trey Turner has 179. Bobby Witt Jr. has 173. Yandy Diaz moving up into the top 5 with 172. Luis Arias has 171. Home run leaders, Cal Raleigh has 57 home runs. Kyle Schwarber is 53. Shohei Ohtani also at 53. Aaron Judge has 49. Eugenio Suarez has 47. Kyle Schwarber leads the way in RBIs with 129. Pete Alonso is 122. Cal Raleigh 119. Eugenio Suarez 113. And Riley Green has 108. We move over to pitching. Taking a look at guys over on the bump. ERA leader is still Paul Skeens at 203. I really thought he was going to end the year sub 2. I'm not sure if he's going to get another start the rest of the season. I really don't. I'm not 100% sure. I want Paul Skeens to end the season below a 2 ERA. It would be absolutely epic. Tarek Skubal is next in ERA leader with a 2.23. Hunter Brown has a 2.30. Yoshi Yamamoto has a 2.58. Freddie Peralta is 5th with a 2.65. Garrett Crochet leads the way in strikeouts with 249. Tarek Skubal has 233. Logan Webb 211. Paul Skeens is 209. Dylan Cease has 207. Wins. Max Fried has the lead with 18 wins. Garrett Crochet 17, along with Carlos Rodon and Freddie Peralta. Brian Wu rounds out the top 5 with 15, and there are a host of starters at 14 right now. With saves, Carlos Estevez is 41 saves. Robert Suarez follows him with 39. Andres Munoz has 37. Jeff Hoffman is 31, along with Yohan Duran at 31 with the Phillies. Great pitching, great hitting. This is crunch time. This last week, even though a lot of these players aren't playing great teams or they have some really difficult matchups coming up, this is the week where awards can be won and awards can be lost. It's going to be a big week for a lot of these players for their individual performances for the season, award implications, stuff like that, which we're going to talk more about next week as well. But I think bottom line, all of these players, for the most part, just want to play October baseball. Now we're going to take a look at the storied pitcher and player of the week. Storied player of the week will not be playing October baseball, but he had an unbelievable week last week. 6 games played, 24 at-bats, 458 batting average, 11 hits, 5 singles, 1 double, 5 home runs, 11 RBIs, 6 runs scored, 2 stolen bases, and only 4 Ks over the whole week. It is Mickey Moniak of the Colorado Rockies. What a week for Mickey Moniak. I've always thought Mickey Moniak was a great ball player. I don't think he ever was pegged to be an absolute stud, a superstar, Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, Mike Trout level superstar. I don't think that was ever expected of Mickey Moniak, but I think he is a much better outfielder and hitter than a lot of people seem to perceive him as, if that makes sense. I really think Mickey Moniak is one of the most reliable guys out there. I need to do a little bit deeper dive into his defensive statistics and more of his offensive stats as well. But I think that Mickey Moniak is a very reliable outfielder that you can platoon out there, and not an everyday guy to be playing, but definitely somebody who's going to be reliable and make plays for any ball club out there in the outfield. And the storied pitcher of the week is going to George Kirby. 2 starts, 2 wins, 1.46 ERA for the week, 12.1 innings pitched, 44 total batters faced, 8 hits allowed, 2 earned runs allowed, 0 walks, and 21 strikeouts. Great week for my man George Kirby. That is a great week and a wonderful 2 starts. Definitely both of them counted as quality starts. This week's games to watch is literally any American League series. Period. Just go out and watch the American League. The National League, I think, is pretty easily predictable. 4 teams already clinched. Really, there's only 2 more spots up for grabs. So in the National League, you could watch any game with San Diego, New York Mets, Cincinnati Reds, or the Arizona Diamondbacks. Those are really the only 4 teams that I think have a realistic shot to clinch a position into the playoffs. So watch any of those 4 teams play this week in the National League. But in the American League, you're going to want to see any game that has any of these playoff teams in it. New York, Toronto, Boston, Detroit, Cleveland, Seattle, Houston, Texas, Kansas City. Those are the ones that you're going to want to watch. They are going to be the games that have the most importance going forward and how the postseason is going to fall. That is going to be so significant. Home field advantage, seeding, who's going to be the number 1 seed in the entire American League, who's going to be the number 2 seed, who's getting those bye weeks, who's going to be playing a wild card matchup. These are the things that are going to be of so much importance, which is why I think any American League game the rest of the way with these playoff contenders is the game that you should lock in on and have your eyes fixed on. It's going to be an exciting week, and I can't wait to watch all of this unfold. And we are just a week-ish away from October baseball. I'm Alec, and I'm getting on out of here. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a fabulous week watching baseball. Make sure you are subscribed right here on 7 Mountain Sports for the next episode and every single episode of Scorebook Stories. We are in the works for so much incredible stuff from us here at 7 Mountain Sports and Scorebook Stories. It's going to be fun, and you're not going to want to miss any of it. So make sure that you are subscribed on YouTube at 7 Mountain Sports. Make sure you're following along over on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else you listen to podcasts from, including the host of Radio Novo apps that are out there for all of our 7 Mountains media products. And give us a follow over on our social media, X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, at 7MM Sports.